Today to talk about the life of a gentle giant, Neil Armstrong, and also about the future of NASA. This all came together this week because I have just left the National Cathedral, where I joined congressional colleagues, senators, and many others in paying our final respects to a man who unquestionably was a true American hero. We know that Neil Armstrong made world history when he stepped out on the moon's surface for the first time, that an American did so, and he said the words that will be forever enshrined in American consciousness. They say that some seek fame and some have it thrust on them. Neil Armstrong was the rare man who earned his fame and yet shied away from it at every turn. He preferred to live the life of, as he described it himself, a white sock, pocket protector, nerdy engineer. He chose to live a private life rather than bask in well-deserved glory. And for that, he was more than a hero. He was a role model that we would all be fortunate to follow. We have too few of those today, as we know. Neil Armstrong served his country in Korea, where he was a fighter pilot and actually was shot down. He served certainly at NASA, which we all know, and he served his community as a professor at the University of Cincinnati. He was a serious, dedicated scientist who loved what he did and just wanted to get the job done. There's a story about him during training before the moon landing when his vehicle forced an ejection. Now, his only injury was biting his own tongue, but it was near death nonetheless, a very lucky escape. Another astronaut saw Neil working at his desk, and he said that he'd heard about Neil being thrown out of his vehicle. And then he asked when it happened, and Neil said, about an hour ago. The astronaut Alan Bean later told Neil's biographer, "I can't think of another person, let alone another astronaut, who would have just gone back to his office after ejecting a fraction of a second before getting killed." I was lucky enough to know Neil Armstrong. We first met when he, Apollo 13 Commander Jim Lovell, and Gene Cernan expressed concern over the administration's proposal to abandon NASA's manned space exploration program. They wrote an open letter, and let me tell you, when the first and last man to set foot on the moon have an issue with the direction of NASA, everybody listened. It was a rare occasion that these astronaut leaders would speak publicly on such an issue, and considering Neil's propensity to shy away from the spotlight, it had even more significance. But he thought that it was important, and a great bipartisan number of our colleagues also agreed that it was important that he chose to speak out on this very important issue. The plan proposed canceling the existing space exploration program and to suspend plans to build a replacement for the space shuttle. It placed immediate reliance on commercial capabilities, which at the time were undeveloped and unproven. Neil was particularly concerned about leaning too heavily on commercial crew vehicles because he rightly believed that NASA should have ultimate ownership and stewardship of the next phase of deep space exploration. When I asked if that group would testify before the Commerce Committee to give us the benefit of their immense experience, Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan were able to do it. Their testimony in May of 2010 helped us craft the NASA Reauthorization Act of 2010, in which we managed to pass a balanced plan that prioritized NASA's development of future exploration beyond low Earth orbit, while putting significant resources into commercial development of crew vehicles to the space station. We passed it unanimously in the United States Senate, very bipartisan, and we passed it on Neil Armstrong's birthday, August the 5th of 2010. When the space shuttle was retired, some thought the space program was ended. You know, I took a group of Cub Scouts, actually, to Johnson Space Center in Houston just a few months ago. They have a great program for our scouts, for any group that actually wants to go and spend the night at the visitor center at Johnson Space Center. And they get to tour NASA and hear about the great feats of our country in space. And one of the little boys said to our NASA administrator at Johnson, "Gosh, I'm really sorry that the space program is ending." And I was shocked, and he was shocked, and we said, "Oh, but it is not ending. The space program is not ending." If we allow people to think, if we allow our young, possible next generation of astronauts and scientists to think that the program is ending, are they going to be inspired to take those courses in aeronautical engineering that will give them that background to propel them to the next level of space exploration that is going to do things that maybe we haven't even thought of yet? It would eliminate the potential that manned space exploration can produce in the next decade. We had a Commerce Committee hearing yesterday where we heard from the NASA scientists about the Mars rover called Curiosity. It was just breathtaking to hear the advancements that we have made with that rover that is now plodding around exploring both the dirt and the rocks and the atmosphere that is on Mars. One of the scientists pointed out that these NASA programs aren't just about exploration. They result in technologies that we use every day and that make our lives better right here on Earth. One pointed out that Curiosity is the first step in the next frontier of space, probing the atmosphere and geology of Mars. And each mission will build on the success of the last. And these robots and rovers that are going up now will be the precursors to the time when we're going to put people, astronauts, on Mars. There are myriad practical results from NASA's programs and as many reasons to keep them alive and fully funded. But I think the astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Jim Lovell, and Gene Cernan, put it best in their open letter. America's space accomplishments earned the respect and admiration of the world. Science probes were unlocking the secrets of the cosmos. Space technology was providing instantaneous worldwide communication. Orbital sentinels were helping man understand the vagaries of nature. They wrote, "Above all else, the people around the world were inspired by the human exploration of space and the expanding of man's frontier." It suggested that what had been thought to be impossible was now within reach. Thank goodness Gene Cernan was one of those who gave the eulogy today at Neil Armstrong's memorial service at the National Cathedral. He gave a personal account, and they were very close friends. They went fishing together. They had a long-term and lasting mutual respect and admiration and friendship. America cannot lose its preeminence in space. We are the leaders of the free world, and we are the natural leaders beyond its atmosphere. This is not done in dominance or hegemony, but to ensure the technology can be used for our economic benefit. The satellites that we have discovered with the space exploration have transformed communications, and satellite-guided missiles have given us defense capabilities that hit the target with less collateral damage. This is my last of 19 wonderful years in the United States Senate, during which I have championed and fought for NASA and our manned spacecraft and space flight program. I have worked with so many dedicated colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and I am proud of what we've accomplished. I am asking that my colleagues do not let all of the hard work of the past be for nothing. We saved the manned exploration program, but there is so much more to be done. NASA must continue to be a priority. You know, I'm a budget cutter. I will match anyone with the budget cutting that I think we need to do in this country. But the key for Congress is to remember what the Constitution says, and that is the purse strings belong to Congress. So what our responsibility is to set that cap on spending. Set that cap at the lowest level that we can and cover our functions that are necessary to run the government of this country. You know, the normal average spending of the federal government is about 20% of our gross domestic product. We're up into 25 and 26% in the last few years. We've got to come back. Got to come back to 20. We may have to go to 18 in order to end at 20. But we must not refuse to set the priorities that will make sure we have an economy in the future. We must invest in the programs that will yield the benefits that will keep our economy going and our people working and our engineers able to continue to produce the great things that have happened in our space program, in our medical research, and more. This is so important to all of us. America's competitiveness depends on maintaining our dominance in science and technology. We cannot do it without NASA. Neil Armstrong left his mark on the American people and on generations around the globe. This is his enduring legacy. Ours must be to maintain the great organization, NASA, that made him a legend and helped make America the greatest nation on earth. Thank you, Madam President, and I yield the floor.